Thank you, Baruch. It's true, I was the soldier. I have to... and Baruch was not only for me, my boss. He taught me a lot of things, not only meteorology, but many, many other things that I carry with me till today. So every time I meet Baruch, for me it's a big excitement. We speak sometimes about the weather, but it's not only the weather. One of the best parts with Baruch is, Baruch cannot see well at night. So he would leave the base at 3:30. So we could leave after him. You knew that, or it's true? Immediately. He would leave, immediately we were out, But for me, Baruch is more than a legend. It's still today, I always say that a big part of my success in meteorology on television is because of Baruch. Until today, I give him a call when I say, I don't know what to say today. It's too complicated for me. And every time he knows everything, he doesn't need a paper or a computer or internet. Everything is in here. In 1972 in Kfar Giladi, there was 36 millimeters of rain because of the low pressure that went here and there. So, and sometimes we have now a show together. We go around the country. We call it, how do we call it? Weather forecasting, a myth or a science? No, we did it once, and it was great because, כן, המדע הוא אגדה, בסדר, נו. Okay, you're all scientists, most of you, and you deal with meteorology, but I think sometimes you forget that it's very difficult to take what you say and approach with all the details to the audience, to the customers. And I'll take you back at the beginning, because today, and we're speaking also about the future, is completely different. I started the weather on television, Alperson, when was it? You didn't change from then. Stayed the same, really. He was the head of Israeli Met Office. We started at Yaffe was, and you just changed him, right? 1989 was the first forecast in Israel on television that the weatherman was presenting the weather. After Uri Batz tried for 15 years, he tried sometimes, but then he couldn't do it daily. But then the Met Office went together with Israel Television. We had only one channel, you remember? No Channel 2, Channel 10, commercials, nothing. And they decided to have weather on television. Nobody knew exactly how to do it. And the Israeli Met Office wanted their people on air. And I came in, I just finished the army a few years, I was like 24, I finished the army, I went to another field, I studied hotel management, and they wanted weather on television, but nobody knew how to do it. So I had to go every day to the Met Office by car to take the information back to Jerusalem. There was no computers to access and see all the models. It was like going there, and it was tough because the people in the Met Office, it was hard for them to accept somebody that is not from the Met Office to be on TV and represent them. But it took some years, and then we all understood that it's a win-win situation for everybody, because there is a difference, a big difference, than dealing with meteorology as a science and being on television and transferring it, the weather, to the audience, because they don't care about lows and highs and all the terms that we use. They want to know if the wedding on Wednesday, if it will be okay for the wedding, if it will rain or not. They don't care about the low and the high and the models. They really don't care. But we found a way of doing it right. And if you go back to the history of weather presenting on television, even in the United States and in Europe, mainly in the United States, they tried many, many different ways to present weather on television and make it interesting, entertaining, because TV is entertainment. But don't forget, it's a science. Don't forget, it's serious business. In Israel, we have, the weather here is, I saw some imaginary pictures over here of rain and radars. Lately, we don't see it so much. So, in the United States or in Europe, it's much more serious for the people because you have storms and tornadoes, and here it's not as important as it's there. So who has to present weather on television? That's the first thing. Who has to deliver it to the audience? Is it somebody, a scientist, somebody who deals with it on a daily basis, works in the Met Office, he's a forecaster, or like they did once in the United States, there were times where somebody who is a stand-up comedian that has nothing to do with the weather, that gets the text from another forecaster, he is going to present the weather with a joke here and a joke there. Or it happened also in the 70s or 80s. They just chose some nice-looking women, dressed. And this was the way to attract the audience to hear what's going to be the weather tomorrow. And it's also a way of doing it. And it's good with rating. Even in the news today, in Channel 10, when they want to make people come and watch the news, they put Guy Penis before. It's a show that deals with the industry of the show business. And you put just before the news, you put like a famous model, and then you see the ratings are very high at the beginning of the news. So that's a way. But they found out also in the United States that it's maybe fun for the first 2 weeks, maybe first 6 months, but afterwards people won't take it seriously. They say, okay, she's nice looking, we got used to it, it's nice to watch, but when there is a storm or there is something serious, nobody takes it serious. So they try to bring the stand-up comedians that also brought a lot of ratings inside, and it was delivered very nice. And, till today there is a guy called Al Roker, who is very known in the United States. He's doing the morning show, but he's not a meteorologist at all, but, he got established. But then they thought, no, we have to take it serious, and they brought really serious forecasters, meteorologists. They had to put the AMS seal underneath that the people will know that they are real meteorologists. And there was even a fight when I started to be on TV in the beginning of the 90s. He's a real forecaster or he's not a real forecaster. There was a fight with another forecaster, Uri Batz. He's the real one. He's the real one. There was a big show in Israel dealing with it. So they dealt also with this in the United States. But then it was too boring because came in, you have to be on television. It's a show. And it was boring. People knew what the weather will be, but they were falling asleep in the middle. So I think until today, nobody really found a solution who is to present the weather on television. But I'm sure, my opinion is, it must be somebody who understands what he's talking about. He doesn't have to have a degree in meteorology. He doesn't have to be a professor or a doctor. It's good if he is. If he has the skills to be on television and he's a professor, it's great, Uri. It's fine. Pinchas, I'm saying, I said Uri. Pinchas. Sometimes when they want somebody serious about the weather, Baruch knows, where is he? He has an agent. I always fix him in all the places that I think they need somebody more serious than me. So I bring Baruch, and he's very good in television. Really, he's good. But to do it on a daily basis, it's different. And you have to find a way to approach your audience. Because what we are doing here, for the audience, I'm not speaking about people who love meteorology, and you all love meteorology in this way or another. For the people, it's very simple. It's going to be cold tomorrow, not cold, it's going to rain, not going to rain. Will I dress my kid when he goes to school with a coat or not? And behind that, you have to do it in a way that will be very friendly, that people will like to hear what you say. So it can't be too boring. And you take this, and for the audience, this science, meteorology, is something very mysterious. People think, although lately it's almost like this because I work mostly from home, that I come at 10 minutes to 9, I get a piece of paper that tomorrow will be hot, and I read it. And until I do it for 21 years, people still think that's my job. I get a piece of paper from the Met Office or whatever, from Nir. Nir calls me, send me a fax, I read it, say thank you, Nir, and that's it. People don't know what's involved behind the scenes, and they don't really care. They don't really care. It's even more serious because even my boss, and I was in Channel 1, Channel 2, now Channel 10, they don't care. Now we just launched a new studio. They care only how it looks. If I say tomorrow will snow, they don't care. Because in Israel, as you know, weather is at the end. It's first the Palestinians and the Hamas and all the other things that we're dealing here. And the weather will be, for the editor, very important only when people, God forbid, are going to get killed from the weather. And this doesn't happen usually in Israel, and that's good. So I have a fight on a daily basis. How do I make it more important? How do I make it so? One way, I speak to the people. I try to take the science. For the people, it's very boring science. For me, it's not boring at all, but I'm not an example. And I try to make it interesting. And trying to make it interesting, so I use technology. I use all kind of things, all kind of ideas. They call it gimmicks, but it's not gimmicks. It's TV business. And you have to attract people to watch you all the time. Especially when the weather is like this. Tomorrow will be the same, like in 2 days it will be the same. And now you have to fill 3 minutes. And they want me to fill 3 minutes because they found out that the last 3 minutes of the news, it's the highest ratings of the news. That's why we have a commercial before and after. Because people are interested. But it's not only that the subject is interesting, it's very important the way you attract people to watch you. So people watch the interaction between me and the other news anchors, what happens there. And afterwards they want to hear about the weather and see the 5 or 7 days forecast. But it's a daily basis fight. And now it's even more difficult because now the future is not only television. Now people have internet. And they had always newspapers, but now they have the internet and the VOD and all the technology that came out. And people can just press and see the weather for Israel if they live also outside of Israel. And I have to tell them, come on, watch me. Don't believe the internet. Watch me. So people, when they approach me in the streets, even if let's say I left for 1 week and I came back, and it was in the paper and in the media, it's going to rain, and I wasn't here. People will stop me in the street, will say, but you said it's going to rain, but I wasn't here. For them, all the weather forecasters are the same. You said, I wasn't here, but you said. Because in the morning, they open the newspaper. In Yediot Ahronot, in the biggest newspaper in Israel, or the other ones, they don't have a real meteorologist working in the newspaper. So they get the information from the Israeli Met Office or from Meteotech, and they get the paper, and they read, there is a chance for local rain in the north of Israel. But they have space in the newspaper. So they make it, take out your umbrellas, it's going to rain. But but we said it's going to have slightly chance for local rain in the north of Israel. But I wake up in the morning and I look at the paper and I see it's going to rain. Now I have to fight the newspapers because people, they read it. And even if I'll say in the evening, it's little chance, a slight chance of local rain in the north, they saw the newspaper in the morning. And there is no forecast, there is no meteorologist in the newspaper. It's the same with the internet. The internet is full of private forecasters giving their weather, many sites, and the future will be more difficult with presenting the weather on television because we have more competition. We have more competition from the internet, from the newspapers, from other stations, and the competition. You know, the weather, I don't think there are big differences between the forecast of Channel 10, Channel 2, Channel 1, the Met Office, Meteotech. At the end, the competition will be how to present it, how to attract people to watch me at the end. Because I take the science and I have to deliver it to my audience in the best way I can, that'll be entertaining, but reliable. And it doesn't always go together. Because in order to be entertaining, sometimes it takes out of the reliability. So you have to know the way in between. And I always say, to give a good weather forecast on television, you have to be a little bit of a meteorologist, a little bit of an actor, and also a little bit of a journalist. You need those three things together. When we have those three things together, but the main thing, the basic thing, you must understand what you are talking about. At the minute they'll go down and they'll take people to present the weather that are comedians or models or whatever, that's the end of this profession, because you cannot do it this way. When you talk about things that comes from deep inside here, then you look real. People believe you, people trust you. But the future, if you're looking for the future, it's all there in the internet. So I think now in the TV industry, they have to think very well, not only with the weather, but with news and all other things. What do we going to do in the future to fight and compete with the internet?